So one of the most common video requests I've received is to make a video about everything I'm using to learn Japanese. And I think it's a pretty good video to make on the second channel, especially now that I'm trying to learn Japanese for 5 hours a day during the summer. So I guess I'll just quickly go over some tools that I'm using, as well as some content that I've used for immersion. And the most common question I've received is probably, what is this tool that I'm using for tracking time? And I'm using Toggle Track for that. I actually quite like it, I think it's pretty good, and that's why I also reached out to them asking if they want to sponsor some video, but I guess they weren't really interested, so unfortunately I'll have to advertise them for free, I guess. So the next thing I use is Netflix, and I also use this browser extension called Sub-A-Dub, which basically makes it so that you can select and copy subtitles and download them as well if you need to. And the reason why it's so useful is because when you combine it with Yomi-chan, which is another browser extension that I use, you can essentially just hover the subtitles and look up the words in a dictionary really quickly. You can actually even make Anki cards with Yomi-chan, but I actually prefer making cards in a different way, and I'll talk about that later in this video. So sometimes I do need to use a VPN to access more content on Netflix, and for that I use VVPN, which is some VPN that I found after doing some research. I guess I've had a decent experience with it, I haven't really had any issues, so maybe I'll try to get some affiliate link if you happen to need a VPN as well, so we'll see about that. I've also used Crunchyroll for watching anime, but they don't really have Japanese subtitles, so I don't really use them that much anymore. So of course I'm still using Anki with 3 primary decks, one of them being the Core 2K 6K deck, where I'm just doing reviews now, then my own decks, which I'm going to talk about a bit later, and a pitch accent deck that I found on the Dogen's Patreon, but I'm not going to show that, of course. Also, besides Netflix, I primarily actually use the MPV media player for sentence mining as well as watching content that I have locally on my PC. I actually use it with this plugin called MPVacious that has this feature which makes it so that every subtitle that gets displayed will also be copied to your clipboard. And then I go to this site called texthooker.com, which is basically just an empty page where the contents of my clipboard will be inserted. But actually for that I also have to use this browser extension called Clipboard Inserter, which I found on Firefox. And I also use this program called Deskbins, which basically makes it so that I can bin a window to be always on top, so I wouldn't always have to Alt-Tab. And I use that for the Anki new card window. And the last thing I use is ShareX, which is a really good program that I've been using for years for various different tasks. And for sentence mining, I primarily use it for recording audio. So once I have everything set up, this is what sentence mining looks like. Let's say I want to mine this sentence because I don't know what ikkyoku means. So once I play this video, it automatically copies this sentence to this website and also my clipboard, so I can just copy paste it right here. Usually on the backside I'll only include the word that I want to learn. And once that's done, I also need to record the audio, and for that I usually just skip one subtitle forward and then one subtitle backwards. And now that it's perfectly aligned, I'm going to just record audio with ShareX, and this is what it looks like.
先週のあの一曲以来、誰とも打たないの。
So now the recording is done, and I'm just going to paste it into the card.
先週のあの一曲以来、誰とも打たないの。
And that's it. That's how fast you can create cards with this method, even though it's not really automatic. And the reason I don't really like automatically generated cards is because usually they have a lot of information that I don't need, and I like to keep my cards as clean and minimalistic as possible. And not to mention, with this method I can have as much control over the cards as I want. I'm going to leave some links in the description for guides that you can use to get everything set up the same way. So here's a list of some of the content that I've used for immersion and sentence mining. I also want to mention that the most important thing is that you find something that you enjoy yourself, as it will be more engaging than something that you think will be most optimal for you to sentence mine from, but will be really boring. And for podcasts, I primarily listen to ones created by Teppe, such as Japanese with Teppe and Noriko, and I just use Spotify to listen to them. I also occasionally watch random videos on YouTube or passively listen to the Japanese 24 livestream. I guess I can recommend 2 channels, one is Seto Koji and the other is Pirobito. I especially liked his Minecraft Let's Play. For games, I've just played primarily Opuna, but I have some other games that I want to play in the near future. I haven't really done a lot of reading practice, but I did buy an e-reader that I have been reading some OPM manga on. It's actually Android based, so I can even do Anki on this, so I might actually make a review of that. And for outputting, I've just tried speaking with my Japanese friends occasionally, and I think that's pretty much it. So hopefully this video was helpful, and hopefully I didn't miss anything, so if you have any questions or videos you'd like to see me create, I guess you can let me know in the comments, so thank you, bye bye.